Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us live for the CWC live training. If you're watching this recording in the future, hello from the past. Make sure you try to participate in many of these sessions live. That way you can volunteer to role play. It's really powerful. Today we have Brad Bearden and Allison Donner here along with myself to talk about cross-selling and bundling mastery. Now we are going to do some role plays here in just a bit. And the big prize is going to be a swag bag of CWC goodies. You can get more for yourself at cwcswag.com if you want to get some cool CWC gear. We will ask for volunteers to role play in a bit. Not right now. Wait until we ask to volunteer, and it will be kind of on a first come, first serve type random basis. So just keep that in mind. Please step outside your comfort zone. Volunteering to role play, step outside your comfort zone. Y'all, that's where we grow. We grow outside of our comfort zone. Now, we will try to wrap this call up within the hour. All right, it's very important that we get y'all back to work, back writing policies, and get you implementing what you're going to be learning today. Now, before I jump in to the complete PowerPoint, we have a very special guest. Corin, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
All right, Corwin, thank you so much for joining us. Now, Corwin is from Paul Williams Agency, Farmers Insurance, and Corwin is a part of an agency that's a part of our team training program. So I've been working with Paul and his team for the past couple months, and we had a team training session this morning, and Corwin was telling me about all the success that he's having. And I'm trying to figure out if that background noise is coming from Corwin's mic, which I believe it is, which is fine. It's fine. But Corwin, I want you just to share what you shared with me this morning about how you're crushing your numbers, and it's because you're getting better at bundling. Can you just kind of remember what you told me this morning and share that with everybody that's watching?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me, by the way. And something that just really works for me is just assuming the bundle. People will call in for a certain product or a certain line. And, what really makes it better is just by just assuming that and rolling right into it. So I've gotten a lot better about getting more bundles and additional items. So it's really just about asking for it and assuming it and rolling right into it. Something that verbiage that I use a lot with my clients is, I want to make this rate as best as possible as I can for you. And one of the ways we do that is we work on a bundle for you. So I want to get you the best rate possible. And then right then, I already have most of the auto submission taken care of, and I'm just verifying details like, oh, are you still driving the 2013 Ford? And at that point, they don't have an opportunity to kind of run away from that. They're into it now. They're into it with me. And it really works out.
Now, talk about the results. Talk about the results. Where are you at so far this month already? Now, keep in mind, for those of us that aren't with Farmers, Farmers has a unique month. Their month ends like the 18th, 19th, 20th of each month. I always joke that they have a Mayan calendar or something. But dude, you still have a lot of time left in this month, right? Which ends next Friday. However, correct. Where are you at already, dude?
Right now, I'm at around 45,000 for premiums. And a lot of that has come from, multi-lines, home, auto, and umbrella mainly. But during my rapport building, I'm discovering additional lines there as well. So ask them what they do. They tell me that they go out fishing, and then I find out that they have a boat. And again, I just kind of assume those quotes.
Yes.
I just ask, once I finish one quote, we roll right into the other, and I just start asking for that information. I don't really give them an option to really get out of it. And, that's what really has worked for me, is just assuming those quotes. Gives you those additional items.
You are. And long story short, and I'm just going to mute you just to eliminate the background noise. It sounds like one of your team members is doing a deal, which is good. That's what we're all here for. But Corwin, what you're doing is you're being a professional, right? And that, y'all, when he told me today that he was already at 45,000 premium and they still have like 8 days left in their calendar month, I thought that was fantastic. And I wanted him to share his story with you. Corwin, unmute yourself one more time real quick. What were you averaging monthly before you really started really bundling at a much higher rate? What were you averaging production-wise?
Half that, if not less.
Half that, y'all. half that. So Corin, dude, I appreciate you sharing your story with hundreds of people now. I hope that this motivates y'all, right? If Corwin can find a way to double his production just by bundling, Corin, unmute yourself one more time. Are you doing more work? Are you doing more calls, more quotes? Or are you just getting more out of each conversation? Or both? Maybe you're doing both. You're doing more activity and getting more from each.
Maybe a little bit of both, but definitely just utilizing that time with the customer that I have on the phone, trying to take advantage of every opportunity that's available. And the only way you're able to do that is by finding out what else they have, what's on their key ring, as we like to say, what do they have? That's from you guys, but yeah, that's really, we take that to heart here. And during our discovery process, that's when we find out those additional items, and it doesn't take it doesn't take a whole lot of extra time. And it's very beneficial. It's shown in on my side anyway.
Well, I'm excited for you and your development, Corin. I think that you have much more potential moving forward. And I cannot wait to keep working with you and your team. And I want to thank Paul for investing in your team and being a part of our team training program, where I get to work with y'all every 2 weeks. But Corwin, go ahead and mute yourself, and we're going to dive into this PowerPoint, because y'all, we want to get to the role playing as quickly as possible. So why is cross-selling so important? You just heard it. You just heard it from the Corwin, right? He's the only Corwin I've ever met. So I'm gonna call him hashtag the Corwin from now on. The opportunity to grow your own business within the business, to make much more money for yourself, is easier when you bundle and cross-sell. We just saw that with Corwin. What do we mean by your business within a business? So all of you work for an agency owner, whether they're with Allstate, Farmers, State Farm, Independent. You work for an agency owner who works underneath a carrier, right? So you guys and gals can all look at yourself as business owners. Corwin Hill is the CEO of the Hilt Insurance Group, right? Shannon Holtman, you're the president of operations of your own insurance company. Think about this. You all have the opportunity to make more money and to grow individually by selling a product that people are legally required to have, auto insurance, by selling a product that people are contractually required to have, property insurance. Do they also need umbrellas, life insurance, insurance for their toys like motorcycles, boats, and stuff? Yes, but they literally have to have auto and property insurance. You can help them with that. You want to raise, pick up the phone. You want to grow your business, get better at the process, or be like Corwin and do both, more activity and getting better at the process. So he's like almost doubled his production because he's following these processes that we're working on individually. You guys all can benefit from the same, and that's what we're here to talk about. By generating more policies per sale, you will have massive growth. And in a minute, I'm going to show y'all some metrics. I'm going to show you Craig Wiggins, Alabama agency, and I'm going to show you Beth Lambert's numbers. I think it'll be really helpful to see some real numbers, right? She's been with us for 8 years, and maximizing every at bat. Well, that's what Corwin's doing. He's getting more from every opportunity. And I used this analogy yesterday in another team training session, not with Corwin's agency, but another agency that I work with. Y'all, batters in baseball, like Major League Baseball, think about this, hitters in baseball get paid millions of dollars, and they're expected to strike out four out of 5 times. They're expected to strike out, but the 1 out of 5 times that they hit, that's why they're paid millions of dollars. Y'all, you got to have more at-bats for one. You're not going to hit many home runs if you're sitting in the dugout. All right, we got to step up to the plate and swing. Know that you're going to still lose more than you win. You're going to strike out more than you hit base hits. Sometimes, though, you'll hit a home run. You'll get that auto, home, umbrella, life, and you get that home run. But plenty of base hits are auto and property, maybe just auto, property, umbrella. Sometimes you might just get an auto or property only. But the more bats that you take, the more chances that you'll have to have grand slams, right? Knocking them all in. So guys, gals, we have to do more and get better. One way that we're going to get better is to get better at bundling at new business and cross-selling for existing customers at review. Now, here's a question for you. Are you taking orders one line at a time, or are you diving deeper? And I used this in another session this morning. Anybody can take an order. Your agency owner can hire anybody to answer the phone politely with good energy and have someone say, hey, I'd like an auto insurance quote. And you say, sure, my pleasure. And then you quote the auto insurance. You might not even ask them for the payment info. You might say something like, how does that sound? Or what do you think? Or can I email this to you? That's not how you close a policy, y'all. But that's an order taker. If all you do is just quote the autos, we must assume the quote of the other line. We must bundle, just like Corwin is, just like all of you that are having success and growing with CWC do. Our job, guys, is simply to meet all of the needs of all of our customers and to be there for them when they need us. And now I realize my typo, and now it's driving me crazy. None of y'all would have noticed the typo if I didn't point it out. It's to be there, T-H-E-R-E, for them when they need us. That's our job, period. And how can we do that?
You guys get all your garbage.
Let's mute him. How can we do that unless we have all their policies? How can we do that if their policies are not at the right limits? We can't. Now, will we ever meet that goal of meeting every single need of every single customer? No, but we must meet more. And just a quick illustration. Which one's easier? All right, let's say I told you I need you to pick up $100 off the ground and you got 10 seconds to do it. Would it be easier to pick up 100 $1 bills or just to pick up 5 20s, 2 50s, maybe 1 100? By bundling, you're going to be building your business at a much faster rate, helping your customers with more of what they need, maybe even all of what they need. And it's going to be a lot easier. Just like Corin illustrated, he's doubled his production just because he's gotten better at bundling. Now, let's talk further about why bundling is very important. You might recognize this slide from a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about cross-selling and bundling. We wanted to go over it again one more time, but then show you our numbers. If you want to look and see what our numbers are. So our goals for you, if a producer, if an agent, or LSP, whatever you call yourself, is operating at these levels, I feel pretty good about them. I feel like they're selling coverage way more than price, that they're being, an advisor to their customers, and they're really putting them in the protection plans that they need. Auto and property, at least 80% of the time. Auto, property, and umbrella, 30% of the time. Now notice, I didn't say 100% of the time. This might shock you because we're all about the umbrella at Craig Wiggins Coaching. Not everybody's going to take the preferred package. We lead with max liability limits and an umbrella policy. All right, we lead with that. But note, not even half of our customers buy it at new business. Of our customers, I'm talking about Craig Wiggins customers. So if you're doing about 30% of the time, I think that's really good. So if you wrote 10
Officer Roger Rochelle, this is Roger. How can we assist today?
Yeah, let's listen to Roger. Let's see. Let's see if he can close that sale. See, the problem is this. What I might have to do is make it to where people can't unmute themselves. Some people have soft phones, so if they hit their space bar to answer their phone, it actually unmutes themselves in Zoom. But if you wrote 10 customers, if 8 out of 10 of those customers had at least auto and property, and maybe 3 out of 10 of those customers have an umbrella too, I think that you're doing pretty darn good, that you're selling coverage way more than price. Don't forget life insurance, and don't forget specialty items, boats, motorcycles, ATVs, etc. We want to meet all of their needs. They're also going to retain much higher, and retention is huge for the growth of the agency. If you're writing a bunch of monoline customers with just one policy, it's going to hurt the agency's retention because they won't stick as well. They won't be as sticky. And you know what? You're also going to have much more sales, just like Corin has, and income. And y'all, you are fortunate to be in this industry. Again, you want to raise, pick up the phone. You want to pay off that credit card, get better at the process. You want to start saving for retirement, do both, right? You can transform your family tree in this business, and we're just so fortunate to be here. Now let's look at our numbers, all right? So for example, this is kind of a breakdown of Craig Wiggins' main location. This isn't all locations. Craig Wiggins' main location. 53% of Craig's customers have auto and property and an umbrella. Look at this, over 3,000 umbrella policies. That's 53%. Y'all, when I look at this graph for most agencies that I'm consulting with, either on a mentoring level or on a team training level, their graph, their first bar is like renters. right? Motorcycles, boats, ATVs, their last bar oftentimes is an umbrella. And when I look at that, I tell the owner, I said, man, your team is not selling coverage. They're selling price. Now, this is Craig's agency that's been in existence for about 25 years now. Let's take a look at Beth's numbers. Beth Lambert. Beth is our top agent, been with Craig and me for about 8 years now. 74%.
Thank you for calling Allstate. This is Katie.
All right, let's see if Katie can close. Okay, I love how they catch themselves and then they mute themselves. 74% of the policies that she's written, 74% of the households that she's written, umbrella. My goal for you is just 30%. But do you think Beth is selling coverage or price more? What do you think? It's absolutely coverage. So when I look at these numbers and I think what your potential is, can we all do more? Can we bundle better at a minimum, auto and property, and including some others? But look at her other category, dude. Her other category is higher than home and auto. Think about that. Why? Because of all the other specialty items that people have, plus renters. Okay, fine. But umbrellas. Think about that. Now, let's take a little look further at some numbers. Now, some of you might have never seen a report like this. Some of you may never have. If you're with Allstate, there's a report called Business Metrics, right? Business Metrics report. Us old school agents call it the CSRP. That's what it used to be called. And if you're with Farmers, State Farm, or other carriers, you likely have your own reports. But check this out. Again, this is just one of Craig's locations. 8,000 households, 77.35% are multi-category. That means about 22% are one. You can see the breakdown of what's auto only, property only, etc. So you can see we're a little bit higher on the property only. These are Beth's numbers. 2,319 households. Percent bundled, 85.86. Think about that, y'all. The health of her book, her retention, her loss ratio, her book, her business within Craig's business. Ooh, it's healthy. It is super healthy. Like if I look at these numbers for a producer and then go back to like these numbers, see how many umbrellas, I'm saying this person's got it. The question is to you. Are you still just trying to take orders and just take one policy at a time and say that you'll cross-sell them later? You won't. You won't, y'all. You will not cross-sell them later. Like it will be months, if not years, before we get that other line. Let's get them the coverage and policies that they need today. Now, a couple quick slides again before we get into the role play, and I'm going to open it up to Brad and Allison to chime in as well before we dive into the role play. I've just realized how much I'm like capitalizing this meeting. But a couple quick slides, and I'm going to get Brad and Allie to share their thoughts, and then we have 2 scenarios to role play with a couple people each. Overall, our average bundling is over 80%. If you look at all, it's around 80%. 3.1 items per household. What are yours? Are you at 1.5? Are you at 2? Are you over 3? That's good. But these are Craig's overall numbers after 25 years, right? What are you doing today, though, within your business, underneath your agency owner's business? And just to summarize, before I get Allison and Brad on, just to chat briefly about this stuff, and then we'll go into the 2 role play scenarios. Guys, we're going to grow together, and we're going to do it smart. We're going to do it smart. Yes, we're going to work hard, but we're also going to work smart. And it's not just about you. Y'all, at the end of the day, our job is to be there for our customers when they need us. And that's what we're going to be doing as we get where they live, what they drive, liability, life and retirement, boats, motorcycles. I need to put more pictures on here. Y'all, as we meet all their needs, we're going to truly be serving them. Let me open up to Brad first, since I see he shared his camera, and then Allison just to chime in, and then we can dive into the role plays.
What's up, brother?
Hello.
But so I want to add a little bit of context here to how we do this from an applicable state, right? How do we actually apply this? And there's an old saying in business and in life: how you do anything is how you do everything. I was sharing this with a team I was coaching earlier, and that certainly applies in the sales process, right? If you're very questionable or allowing the prospect to lead the call in the beginning, it's going to be very, very difficult to be assertive and controlling when you're trying to close that deal. So what do I mean by that? If you're the biggest mistake I see a lot of people making is asking permission to quote the other lines, right? They're asking if they're calling.
Hello?
Hey.
Oh, sorry.
That's all good. What's the when someone calls in for their vehicles, right? We obviously want to get the home as well. We want to get everything that they have, all their assets. But if they're calling for the vehicles, next step is the home. Being very assertive and controlling that conversation is important. The worst thing that I think you can do is asking for permission to quote the next line. You simply just ask the information. And if they stop you, you say, hey, I understand, Mr. Jones, that let's say they stop you and they say, I only called in about my cars. That's all I'm really interested in. I understand. But in order for me to give you the best quote possible, I need to know, boom. And I go directly back to the question I asked previously. I'm not trying to justify why I'm asking them. I'm not trying to sell them on why they should allow me to quote their home as well. And I'm certainly not asking their permission. See, if I don't control the conversation at the beginning, it's going to be very, very difficult to control the conversation at the close, right? And we've talked about that being assertive and being assumptive when you're trying to close someone, right? And that means we tell them, hey, this is what the policies are we've put together. This puts you and your family in the best case scenario, in the best position possible. Happy to welcome you to our family. How would you like to pay? Here's your options, right? Which one do you prefer? That's very assumptive and assertive. Whereas a lot of people in the close, they're asking, well, what do you think about that? Does that sound good? And they're asking questions or asking permission to close that person. And that's, as I think we all know, that's not a very effective way, right? The most effective way is to be assertive. However, it's difficult to be assertive at the end if you've been asking permission since the beginning, right? So if I started out the call asking for permission to quote this line and ask for permission to quote this asset and to get information about this one, if I kept asking your permission, it's very, very difficult to be assertive and assumptive at the end. Even if you are, there's going to be a breakdown in the congruency of how you're presenting yourself, right? The most trusted people in any profession are the people that are the same all the way across the board. They carry themselves the same way from start to finish. Right? Anytime you do business with them, they're doing their business the same way every single time, regardless of the scenario. Those are the most trusted professionals in the world. The ones that change up everything every single time another situation arises, those people may consider themselves being more helpful, but honestly, what you're doing is coming across less trustworthy because you're not sticking to your guns. As a professional, you should have a system and a process of handling every single quote and every single quoting process, every single sale. It should be the same every time. Joseph, what does Beth quote every single time?
Every single time, auto, property, umbrella, no doubt.
But even taking that a step further, limits.
Oh, max limits, including an umbrella, auto, property, umbrella, every time. There's no question.
She's not allowing them to come in and tell her what the limit should be, or to quote me specifically, because that's what I had before. That's what someone else told me I should have, or that's what I saw on a Geico commercial. No, like she's got her process down that she knows works for her and puts her clients in the best position possible. And so that's how you should carry yourself as a professional, and how that relates to your closing is very important, because how you start the conversation is absolutely going to have an impact on how you end that conversation. So if you're starting that conversation by asking for permission to quote these other items, don't be surprised if you have a lot of trouble closing that person. However, if you start off that conversation being very assertive, assumptive, and controlling of the conversation, don't be surprised if you have a much higher close rate than you've ever had before.
Yes, sir. Allison, are you there? Do you want to chime in real quick before we jump into the role playing?
Yeah, sure. So just to not make this call any longer than it needs to be, I just want to repeat about working smarter and not harder. I mean, that's really what this is about, you guys, because if you, in every contact ratio stat is going to vary depending on where your list of phone numbers are from, what part of the country you're in, but whether it takes you 20 phone calls for someone to answer and have a conversation, or whether it takes you 80 for anyone to pick up and have a conversation. This is why you have to strike while the iron's hot when someone is already on the phone. Like, because and to be honest, it's probably going to get even a little bit harder. Some of you may have noticed that you aren't getting a hold of as many people if you were in insurance 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Well, with technology changes and TCPA stuff, there's been, you know, silenced calls, junk calls, spam calls. And then, you know, they're even going to come down with even more. So getting a hold of people is going to become more difficult via telephone. And so that is why when you have an opportunity, whether it's a service call in that maybe you accidentally answered and you can cross sell, if you have a live person to talk to, consider that a gift. And let's work smarter and not harder. So that's all I wanted to just kind of like drive home.
Well, I want to piggyback off that for a second, because that's a great principle to learn there. Allie brought up a great point. So human psychology, and when you're in sales, right, you should always be studying to some degree human psychology, right? It's going to help you. Why is it that when you go to Target or Walmart or Publix or any other supermarket, that when you go to check out, there's a whole bunch of magazines, candy bars, Tic Tacs? Why is all of that there? Let me ask this: How many of you, show me in the chat box, if you've ever purchased anything like a candy bar, a stick of gum, a bottle of hand sanitizer, a tabloid, a magazine from the grocery store, or from, okay, look at them. Everybody's like, yeah, they're buying it. Okay, how many of you? Hold on, there's a great lesson to be learned here. How many of you went to Target or went to Publix to buy that thing? None of you. Right? Why? Because us as consumers, that we have like modes that we're in, right? And when we're in buying mode, when we're in consuming mode, that is your best opportunity to get me to buy something else. Every major retailer in the world knows that. They know you didn't come there to buy that Snickers bar or that tabloid. You had no interest in it. You didn't even know the daggum thing was out or available. But because you're already in the process of purchasing something, might as well add that on there. What phrase has made McDonald's more money than anything in the world?
Would you like fries with that?
Would you like fries with that?
Oh,
and that's true. It's the economics of it, right? And you have your greatest chance to make your second sale while you're making your first sale. The greatest mistake any of you can make is believing your own lies. And that's what Allie just brought to your attention, is we can trick ourselves. Listen, all of us, myself included, we can lie to ourselves better than we can lie to anyone. All right, that's just reality. We know how to trick ourselves into believing something. If you are tricking yourself into believing that you're going to make that sale later on, you're setting yourself up for failure. It's a lie. It's a lie that you're telling and choosing to believe yourself. Mm-hmm. Your best opportunity to sell across the board, to sell the entire household, is when they're already in buying mode, because you don't have to convince them to get there. Think about the reverse, right? If you went to Target and you bought a whole bunch of groceries and then you checked out, and after you got home, I came and knocked on your door and said, "Hey, do you want this Snickers bar? Do you want this tabloid?" What are my chances of selling that to you? Slim to none. Slim to none. Like, you're going to think I'm crazy. However, that same thing, if presented the opportunity to buy it while you were already purchasing stuff, I have an exponentially greater likelihood of you making that purchase. So I just think that was a great point that Allie brought up. And we have to be aware of buyer psychology. When they're in buying mode, consuming mode, it doesn't matter if they're buying insurance or if they're buying candy bars. We need to take advantage of that opportunity to put our other products in front of them.
Now, here's the deal. If within the next hour or two, I don't get a payday or Snickers, like, I'm going to be like, you got to be jonesing right now, dude. Every time I go to Target or whatever, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get that payday. I'm going to get it. And I get the extra large, the king size paydays, y'all. That's my love language, that and tacos. A couple quick chats. Latacia Lindsay sent a chat in. She said, assumptive sales work. I just did it on Monday and the customer just gave me his info. I was shocked how fast it was. I got off the call and had to do a happy dance. That was easy and fast, and I loved how it went. We had another chat in here, but then like thousands of y'all started chatting. Crystal said we were $600 more in a deal, but I broke it down by the day, and the client said yes for more coverage. So Crystal's following the training, right? Latacia is following the training. Are you? How many of y'all have been tuning in week after week, watching the videos every morning? but we're still just saying the old same things. Y'all, we got to change it up. So how are we going to change it up? Practice makes permanent. So let's talk through this real quick, and then we can have people role play with Brad. Would that be good? To do role play with Brad as he's the customer. Well, let's talk through this cross-selling and bundling at the beginning of the call. So someone wants a car insurance quote, or maybe you're reaching out to them and they want a car insurance quote. Awesome. I'm really excited to be able to help you with this today. You jump straight into the quote. Now, we're going to fast forward the part where we're gathering information and all that stuff. We're going to imagine that you got the year, make, model, what they do for a living. You've built rapport, everything that we trained last week, right? We're going to just skip that part. And then we want to go straight into the assumptive quote. So Brad, thanks so much for giving me all the info on your cars. Now, real quick, do you own or rent your home? He'll answer. Now, he may or may not object, depending on how you ask the question. But if he objects, we want to handle the objection and keep moving forward. So that takes us to this slide, because I couldn't fit all this on one slide. You might recognize this. We actually went over this a couple weeks ago as well. But now it's time to see, have you been preparing? Right? So if they object, Brad, would you just talk us through this slide real quick, talking about how we can overcome that objection and keep going?
Absolutely. I think the first thing you have to understand is humans by nature, right? I know I talk a lot about human psychology. Humans by nature are not combative. Nobody wakes up, or I shouldn't say nobody. Very few people wake up wanting to be argumentative with someone or to have a disagreement. We are mostly by nature want to be agreeable, right? Just because that makes life easier. Use that to your advantage. So when someone gives you their first objection, right? They say, oh, let's say they called in about their cars. And you start asking about their home. You ask about, do they own or rent? And they say, well, I own it, but I just called in about my cars. Really not interested in that. I just want to get a quote on my vehicles. Okay, Mr. Jones, I understand. But for me to give you the best quote possible, remember that line, right? Because who's called in, or who are you got on the phone that wants your second best quote? No one. Or your third best quote. Everybody wants your best quote possible. I understand, Mr. Jones, but for me to give you the best quote possible, I need to know, do you own or rent your home? I just go right back to the question. I'm not going to get in a debate and try to sell you on why you should allow me to quote your other line here. I control this conversation. I am the professional. This is my sales call. I know exponentially more about insurance than you do. So here's the answer that I need. It's very direct. What you're going to find is most people are just going to give you the information and let you keep going because they're just agreeable. People just want to be agreeable about nature, right? They're just not, and they do give you, if they happen to be in that 10 or 15%, they gave you a little bit more pushback. Then you can go to the line right below it, right? I understand that that the home or auto, whichever one they call it, is your primary concern. But for me to get a better picture of what we can do, get the rates lowest possible, it'll just take a few more minutes for me to get the information and take a look at it. And you can be a look. And if they give you pushback again, okay, so be it. Move on. Right? We're not going to force it down the throats. But what we're talking about there is the unicorn. Most people, the vast majority of people, that very first time that you just say, hey, Mr. Jones, I understand. But for me to give the best quote possible, I need this information. Notice, I'm not trying to explain to them or ask their permission or sell them the benefits of why I'm going to quote multiple items or multiple lines. I'm not. I'm just saying I need this information to give you the best quote possible and keep on. It's my sales call. I'm in control. I tell you what the next steps are. You don't tell me. And you just have to have that mentality.
One last chat before I ask for volunteers. Not yet. But John Spalding says, I'm loving the key ring, liability, breaking down the price, being assumptive, getting the digits. So he's basically saying the whole process, I don't ask if I can quote it. I just do it by confirming the details. So John, you're obviously learning. You're obviously, implementing. I love it. Now it is time in 3, 2, 1. If you would like to volunteer to role play, here we go. Johnny Hausner, Elizabeth Davila, and Jacques Pressendieu. I just said it because I want to make sure I pronounce it right. Jacques Pressendieu. I've already forgotten. Crud. So Johnny Hauser, let me type this in. Johnny Hausner. Go ahead and unmute.
Howdy, can you hear me?
Yeah, and then I said Elizabeth Holly or Davila. Who did I say? Crud. I should just type Elizabeth Holly and Elizabeth Davila. Since you both came in at the same time, you guys will be third and fourth. And then last will be Jacques Crescendio. So Jock P. All right, go ahead, Johnny. Take it away with Brad. You're just going to jump straight into Brad. You're going to say, hey, man, I want an insurance quote. And then, Johnny, you take it.
Good afternoon, Widmeyer Insurance. This is Caleb.
Let's see if Caleb can close this deal. Mute. All right, Johnny, Brad, take it away.
All right. Hey, Johnny, I was just calling in today, man, I just bought a new vehicle. Wanted to get a quick quote on it, if you don't mind.
All right, most certainly we can get that taken care of for you. Let me just grab a few pieces of information and we'll get you taken care of. Go through all the stuff, vehicles, VINs, mileage, all that other good stuff. All right, Brad, thanks so much for giving me all that information on your new truck. Now, just real quick, do you buy or own or rent your home?
I own it.
All right, great. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this homeowners with your auto right now. Saves you a substantial amount of money, and I think it's going to be in your best interest. While I'm doing this, do you have any bikes, any other toys, boats that we need to add to this policy as well?
I got a ski boat.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and work that up a little bit as well. We'll get some details for that here in a second, but
hey, man,
just going to go.
Take a long time. I really just called in for the car. I mean, I appreciate the effort and all, but I'm kind of in a hurry, man. I just wanted to get this.
I understand, Brad. This is not going to add any more time to our phone call, and it's going to ensure that I can give you the best rate possible.
Okay.
So on the ski boat there, and then you kind of go on from there.
All right. The only feedback that I would give real quick, and I'll let Brad say if he has any, or Allie, because we got a lot of role plays to do. We paused. Like the way you overcame the objection was good. Hey, this won't take long. So it won't add much more time. It won't add any more time to our phone call. It's going to give you the best rate, blah, blah, blah. But then we paused. If we pause, that gives Brad the chance, or the customer the chance, to object again. It's like that running back. He's running, about to score a touchdown. And then we stop at the 3-yard line and get tackled. But I thought that was really good. Brad or Allie, any feedback on Mr. Johnny?
I got one. Because I saw it, I think, on the chat box too. But you guys, what you want to pay attention to, what Brad and Joseph say versus what you're saying, is I want to give you the best quote possible, not the best price. You got to stay away from price, because if you say price, you're putting that back into their line of thought. Best quote does not equal best price. If they're at state minimums and they really need more than $1 million coverage, that's not best for you to do apples to apples and worry about price. So make sure you're saying best quote and not best rate, best premium, best. Stay away from dollars and cents, because you want to slowly break that down and take that out of their thought process. So that was my only feedback.
I thought that was fantastic, Johnny. Let's go to Elizabeth Holly, and then Elizabeth Villa will be next. Elizabeth Holly.
Can you hear me, Joseph?
Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear. Brad, take it away with Miss Holly.
Hey, Elizabeth, how you doing today?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Oh, well, just purchased a new home. Wanted to get a quick quote on getting my home covered by you guys.
Absolutely, Brad. I would love to get that put together for you. Let me gather a little bit of information. I want to make sure that I get all the discounts in here for you correctly. Now, Brad, tell me, how many cars are you going to be housing in that driveway?
3.
3? Okay, perfect. And my records are showing right here that you've got a 2020 Corolla, a 2017 Kia, and a 2012 pickup truck. Are those the vehicles?
Yeah, I traded the Corolla in for a Rolls Royce.
Okay, great. What year is that Rolls Royce?
The 2020.
Wonderful. Okay, I'll just get that updated right here for you, Brad. Now, are you pulling any toys with that pickup truck by any chance?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and get all of this put together for you and send it over to your mortgage company.
Okay. Joseph?
I think Elizabeth. I want to keep one of the last name. I think Miss Elizabeth Holly is fantastic. Super assumptive, super assertive. I love her energy, y'all. Do y'all hear her enthusiasm, her energy, her personality shining through? And you know what? She was so good. Brad didn't even object. He didn't even object, did he?
And I think that's a great example of how smoothly it could go. She continued on, and notice what are the things that most people do when they're nervous or they're anxious or they're fearful that people are going to say no, is they start getting real wordy and making things longer and more difficult than they need to be. She was direct to the point. Like, if my concern, which a lot of times this will show up, was time. Like, oh, this is going to take, she's already got so much information before, like how methodical she was at collecting it. Like, hey, it is what it is. Like, she continued on. She asked all the right questions. She made everything very seamless and effortless. She didn't sound very salesy. And I want to compare Elizabeth to the last gentleman we spoke with just a moment ago, because here's something that he said that I would maybe stay away from that Elizabeth didn't do. And now he did it well. He did it in a tactful way. So I'm not taking away from that. But he said, well, when I said something about the home, he said something along the lines of, okay, well, I'm going to put in this I'm going to quote you this home policy as well. And it's going to make you it's going to save you a whole lot of money. And basically what you're doing there is subtle, in some subtle way, trying to go ahead and sell the bundle. And it's out of order. Like, you're not trying to make the sale at this point. You're just trying to collect the information. But Elizabeth, she didn't tell me she was going to sell me any other policies. She didn't tell me the benefits of it. She didn't try to pre-sell. She just, hey, let me get all the information, and I'm going to put a policy package together for you that makes sense. That was very well done, very assumptive. I enjoyed it.
All right, Elizabeth Davila. Is it Davila or Davila, Elizabeth?
It's Davila.
Davila. Elizabeth Davila. I love it. It's beautiful. Jump right in with Brad.
All right. Hi,
Hey,
Brad.
Elizabeth,
Good
how you
afternoon.
doing?
I'm fine. How about yourself? How can I help you today?
I just wanted to call and get a quote. I'm up for renewal on my vehicles, and figured I would just kind of shop around, see if I can save myself a little bit of money.
Of course. Where are you holding this vehicle, sir?
I'm sorry?
Where are you holding this vehicle?
At my house.
Okay. Do you own this house?
I do.
You do. Okay. And do this house has a mortgage on it?
It does.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Let me access all this information on here. And just one more question. Do you have a plan B in case something happens to you and all this debt gets transferred to your wife?
Are you talking about life insurance?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we've got pretty good life insurance.
Where do you have it, sir?
I'm sorry?
Where do you have this life insurance?
Northwest Mutual.
Rootwood Mutual. Is that through work or you bought it separately?
I'm sorry?
Is this through work?
It is.
All right. And well, hopefully the unexpected won't happen to you while just you're working. So of course, it's always great to have an insurance through work, but then it's also great to have something out of work in case, the company closes. Okay, all right,
let's stop
or you get retired. Yes.
Good job. Very good. Joseph?
So, life is super important, Elizabeth. You got information on the property, you got information on the cars. Why not talk about a little bit about life? I love how you're trying to complete the whole package. You sound super friendly, super engaging. I don't feel like you're trying to push product, right? Sometimes people might feel that someone's trying to be pushy on them. I like how you're including it all, being assumptive. He's yet to give you an objection. He's yet to, so you just keep rolling. That's fine. Brad?
I thought it was well. I think you have to be careful when we begin to sell, right? Because everyone likes to buy. Very seldom do people like to be sold. And right there, where I felt is like, oh, you're trying to sell me, you're trying to convince me. Where at this point in the stage, that may be a great, like the dialogue that you were carrying would be great towards the close. If you were giving me an objection towards setting an appointment with someone or something, then that's a great opportunity. But what you're running the risk of is diluting the conversation, because now if you try to start selling me on a specific product that I didn't call in for, and we haven't even got to the quoting process yet, you're risking everything, right? You're risking kind of getting me disinterested or at least putting up a guard too early. I think asking the question, you did phenomenal. Is there something in place? Do you have something in place in case something happens? I think that's a great question. And you got an answer. And then you maybe took that a little further. Who is that with? Okay, wonderful. And then even if you want to take that step further, if it's through your work, say, okay, wonderful. We'll really revisit that towards the end of our conversation. And then carry on and keep things in order, because right there you run the risk of losing a lot of momentum if we start trying to sell somebody before the appropriate time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But I love the assumptiveness and assertiveness. I think when you go down that rabbit hole, you run the risk of losing that person. Also, when you start selling somebody, maybe there were other products that I needed. Right? And now it's kind of hard to go back. And after we've had a discussion here, it's kind of hard to go back. Oh, let's talk about what do you have rental properties? Do you have a lake house? Do you have like any other thing could have been brought up? But now that you've already changed directions, you kind of lost that momentum. So great job on being assertive to ask that question, but make certain that we don't start selling until it's the appropriate time.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for volunteering. We have one more on this scenario, then we'll probably do one or two on the next scenario. Jacques.
Hey, I'm actually Corey Jones.
Oh,
Jacques is my agency owner. Jacques is my agency owner. He actually sent me the information because I didn't have the login information. I apologize for that.
Gotcha. So I was like, I want to hear how he pronounces his name. And he's like, my name's Corey. This is
Jacques
Corey.
President, though, by the way. Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Corey, thank you for volunteering. Take it away with Brad.
Awesome. Hey, Corey, thank you for your time, man. I'm just calling in, man, real quick to kind of get a quote on my vehicles. I've got a couple vehicles coming up for renewal, and just want to see if I can save a little bit of money.
Oh, great. Thank you so much for calling our agency. We take pride in offering you great service and good rates. Right now, you said that you have a few vehicles. How many cars do you have to be exact?
I've got 3.
3 cars, okay. Are you carrying full coverage or just state minimum?
Full coverage.
Okay, awesome. So question, will you be the only listed driver for these vehicles?
No, just my wife and I.
Okay, great. Okay, so your wife, great. So are these cars parked at your home?
They are.
Okay, do you own your residence or are you renting there?
I own my home.
Okay. Great. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take some additional information from you so we can make sure you get the best rate possible. In addition to getting you a quote for your auto, we will provide you with the best quote by bundling that with your home insurance, okay?
Yeah, but I just called in for my auto, man. I appreciate that, but I just need to get a quote on my autos real quick.
No worries. We're going to get that quote for you for your auto. We're going to check for all the discounts you qualify for. In addition, just to let you know, traditionally when we quote with homeowners insurance, you get the best rate possible. So I'm going to go ahead and get that quote started for you for the auto, and we'll send that information along with the homeowners insurance, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
All right, quick feedback. 2 things. Never, ever say the term full coverage.
Got it.
Full coverage doesn't exist, right? Full coverage has
Don't say full
limits.
Coverage.
Yes, that's right, Elizabeth. Thanks for chiming in. She was like, oh, crap, did I unmute myself? So, Corey, we don't want to say that. If the customer, she's like dying laughing. If the customer says, I have full coverage,
yes.
If my customer says that, we say, okay, I understand, but full coverage has its limits. Let's take a look and see what your limits of liability are. There's maximums. So, and then twice we said, okay, and then paused. You're basically saying, Brad, please object to this. Please object to this, Brad. I'm asking permission. Is that okay? Right. So those are the 2 things I want to give feedback on. You sound amazing. And I love how conversational you are. But by giving them those outs, by saying okay and pausing, you're just going to allow more objections. Brad?
Yeah. And secondly, is I want everyone on the call because, man, you've got great phone etiquette. You have a great voice. You're a very good communicator. However, here's the thing. When we start trying to sell the prospect on why we should quote this other thing, what we're doing, whether we realize it or not, is we're looking for permission, right? We're giving them somewhat of control because we're like, hey, here's why I'm doing this. It's going to provide. None of that was necessary. Like, Corey, all you had to say was, you started out extremely well, and then you don't have to tell me you're going to quote my home as well. Why would you explain that? Like, what benefit did it give you? And this is an honest question. I think we all need to think through. What benefit did it give you to tell me that you're going to quote my home as well? Because that's what we do. There was none. The only thing, that statement there, the only thing that it did was open you up to me providing an objection, right? Because you were just gathering information. I don't know. Most people don't know anything about their insurance. They don't know exactly what you need or why you need it. Just continue on with the conversation. And you did use that line to give you the best quote possible, which is great. But then you added in language around justification so that we can, if we do this and we do this, all that's unnecessary. You're the professional. Don't look for their validation or for their for them to agree or to give you permission to quote the next line item. You're the professional. You do this job. You don't need to even tell them that you're going to quote their home and everything as well. Why? There's literally no reason. There's no good out of you telling them what all you're going to do. There's no good that can come out of it for you. Only thing that can happen is then give you an objection. Just go along the quoting process until they object. And when they object, say, I understand, but in order for me to give you the best quote possible, I need to know X, whatever the next question is, right? Wherever you are in that dialogue. And then more times than not, they're not going to object again. They're just going to let you go along, keep on going. And that also sets the stage for the other products that are out there. Because maybe like someone asked before, do you pull anything with that truck? Yeah, I do, man. I got a ski boat. Okay. Well, do you have a lake house or do you a beach home that you take that boat to? Oh, well, yeah, actually I do. Okay, great. What year was that built? What is the square footage of that? And again, I'm not asking for permission. I'm not trying. The moment that we start trying to tell them the benefits, everybody needs to hear this. The moment that we start trying to tell them the benefits, what we're really doing is asking for permission. We're asking for them to say, it's okay for you to quote this. You don't need their permission. You are the professional. You just do it your way because that's what they called you for. That's why they're on the phone, for you to do your job as a professional. So you've got amazing phone skills, great etiquette. Don't look for permission, whether it be from trying to get them to agree or them to understand. Just go like, man, you've got an incredible phone etiquette. Just use that to your advantage and go through it. People aren't going to argue with you. They're not going to stop you. If they do one time, you just say, hey, I just need, I understand, Mr. Jones, I just need this information to give you the best quote possible. So what is blank? And just keep on going.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the feedback. I appreciate it.
You got it,
man. That's where we grow, right? Y'all, it's the little things. It's the little things that we say or don't say that make a huge deal. Let's talk briefly about cross-selling for an existing customer. Y'all, it's very important that we lead with a mini review. What does that mean? I don't just call Brad and say, hey, Brad, I just want to confirm nothing's changed. Has anything changed, Brad? Okay, nothing's changed. Well, real quick, I see here that we only have your auto insurance. Can I please give you a quote on your home? No, that's not a review. A lot of y'all say that I do cross-sell calls after a review, but it's too short. A mini review should take 5-7 minutes. Go through their coverages, make recommendations, give them good advice. Maybe they've had that home policy on the books for a while and their deductible's super low and it would make sense to raise it. Maybe they have coverages they don't even need anymore and we can remove them. Maybe their limits aren't what they need, that they need to be updated and we give them that. Take a minute to look at those discounts. Look to see, could they save a bunch if they paid in full or activated telematics like Drivewise, whatever your carrier calls the app or whatever that pays them back based on how they drive? Do they have any other savings opportunities? So coverages, deductibles, discounts. Then we're just simply backing our way into asking another question, right? We don't even qualify it. Like Brad was telling Corey, there's no need to qualify it, right? I would just say, you know what? We've made some really great decisions today updating your home policy. I'm really proud of what we did today. I really think that higher deductible is going to save you a lot over time. That was a good choice. Now, quick question. What types of cars do you park in the garage?
Thank you for calling the Maria Maya Allstate Agency. This is
Tippy, get it, girl. So, what types of cars do you park in the garage? You don't have to qualify it, like Brad was telling Corey. Now, if they push back, we want to overcome the objections using field found. What I want to do is get at least one person to role play this, y'all. I really think that it's important. We've been teaching this for a while. We've had even live trainings on this for a while. Who would like to role play? Sarah Riggs, you're first. So Sarah, oh no, I messed up. All right, let me chat this to everybody. Sarah Riggs, can you unmute yourself? Sarah Riggs. Going once.
Come on, Sarah.
Going twice. I'm trying.
That she's trying.
It could be an issue on her end. Sarah, if you're not able to get on, that's okay. We can try to get you on next time. I'll give you 3 more seconds. I'm sorry, Sarah.
Anybody else notice Gerald Butler's glasses?
I can't see. I'm only seeing like 4 people. Let me go to Whitney King. Sarah, I'm sorry that didn't work out. We're going to try next week, okay? Whitney King, are you there? It's okay.
I'm here.
Hey, Whitney, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. One thing that I wanted to mention is, before we do the mini review, like this role play is after we've done the mini review, y'all, make sure you're recognizing your customer's tenure, how long they've been with you. Right. But we're not going to role play that part. We're not going to role play, hey, Brad, this is Whitney here at so-and-so agency giving you a call because, gosh, I see you've been with us for 5 years, 7 years, whatever. Wow, that's amazing. You're awesome. We love you. I was taking a look at your policy and I see a few things we need to discuss, blah, blah, blah. We're not teaching that. We've already taught that. This is after the mini review. But whenever I talk about reviews and customers, always recognize their tenure. Thank them for that. But anyways, this is after your 5 to 7 minute mini review. You're transitioning with Brad. Take it away, Whitney.
All right, Brad, we've done an awesome job updating your policy today and upgrading everything. I think we've made some really smart decisions. And, we're really thankful to have you as a part of our agency family for 5 years now. Now, tell me, what cars do you park in your garage?
I've got a F-350 and a Cadillac Escalade, ESV.
Awesome. Are you pulling anything with that F-350?
On occasion, depends on the weekend.
Okay. Is it camper, boat, motorcycle?
A ski boat.
Awesome. So what I'd like to do is we're going to put together some policies here for you on those autos and your toys. And let's just see what we can do if we bundle everything together.
Well, I'm kind of happy with where I am, and it's probably, it's going to take a lot of time. I appreciate you making certain we're good to go, but right now I've got a meeting coming up in about 20 minutes I need to get to.
Oh, totally understand that, Brad. Definitely want to respect your time. I can understand why you feel that way. A lot of my clients have felt the exact same way, but what they found is really quick and easy to get this put together for you. And I definitely want to make sure that we are properly protecting everything in your household. So let's just take a couple of minutes and I'll get that put together for you, Brad.
Keep going. Don't stop. Keep going, though. What's another question you would ask? Don't stop.
Do you have any idea what your limits of liability are on those autos, Brad?
Good. So you want to go back into the assumptive quote. Brad, feedback before we get to the winner announcement.
Oh, I loved it. I love it. You did so well. You really did. You felt found in me. You followed the script. You responded well. I was glad to hear Joseph chime in like, hey, just get right back to it. Continue on with the quote. You have me on the phone. Something in that situation you could say like right there, hey, I found because obviously I understand I feel, many of my customers have felt the same way. However, what I found is, when we're doing mini reviews like this, we find things that need to be changed. And there's a lot of other assets out there that other things may need to be reevaluated and changed. So tell me, what are your current liability limits on those vehicles? Right. And you're using what just happened, what just taken place to your advantage, right? Because you just did this mini review. So there's a lot of things that may need changed or haven't been properly looked at over there as well. So it's not going to take much time at all. Tell me, what are your current liability limits? And just go right into it. But you did really, really well.
Thank you.
Guys, gals, it is time to pick the winner. Allison, are you still with us?
Yes.
Do you have feedback? I'm showing my finder window, y'all. Roll Tide. All right. So I'm showing my finder window. So we had Johnny, we had Elizabeth Holly, we had Elizabeth Davida, we had Corey from Jacques Agency, we had Whitney King. So Allie, Brad, who do we think we should win as the swag bagger?
Let's put it on Allie today. It's Allie's call.
I know. I'm trying to go back. I didn't write it down. Well, while I get this name, just to make sure I don't say the wrong thing. I just want to point out, somebody asked, what about the rates? Like, what if I'm not competitive with rates? Guys, that's our whole format. That's our whole platform. You don't sell on rates. You sell on, you're getting 10 times the coverage. You've got to separate yourself. Because most of you, I don't care what sign you have on the front door, you're going to tell me rates are an Achilles heel for you. And so we're not going to do that. Like we're going to sell on what the whole CWC format is. And then before I say who I think the winner is, the most assumptive close that happens every day without people even realizing it is insurance on cell phones. You don't get asked. It just happens, right? They're closing deals left and right. It's like, here's your new bill. And that's where it is. So just keep that in mind. But the winner, in my opinion, is Elizabeth Hawley.
All right. And it was just who I landed on. I was flipping through those. So Elizabeth Hawley, winner, chicken dinner. Elizabeth, reach out to Allison. It's Allison with one L. People always try to add like 7 L's to Allison's name. It's Allison with one L, not 2, at craigwigginscoaching.com. Let her know your address for your CWC swag bag. Everyone, thank you for giving us your time today. We've all learned a lot. Now it's time to implement, though. It's time to implement what we've learned. Get off this call, pick up the phone, call somebody and cross-sell somebody, y'all. Bundle. Don't be an order taker, be an advisor. Thank you all so much. And thank you to Brad. Thank you to Allie. We will see you guys next week. Everybody take care.